We've been doing the mood tracker all throughout spring. How's the fan base feeling? If you're a Minnesota fan and you want to know how outside fan bases are feeling about the program, hey, here's your shot. I want to talk to you about Ole Miss for a second. You seen these odds? Our friends over at FanDuel, for example, you seen these odds on Ole Miss? You see how highly thought of they are? Could this actually be the year? Well, all Ole Miss fans are asking that. I would call the mood amongst the Ole Miss fan base just ready to storm the gates, ready to storm the castle. No one's looking forward to 2025. No one's talking about building for the future. Those are all great things to have in mind. Ole Miss fans, kind of like Michigan folks last year for a different reason. They look at 2024 and then they see the edge of a cliff and they're not worried about what's beyond that because they know they've built for this year. They are totally equipped as best they can be from a roster perspective. I shared with you that I think if you account for the additions they made and just the overall upgrade in grading guys from last year to this year, I think their staff is better this year than it was last year. It's one of the best staffs in the SEC. I don't think you can overstate how good a job Lane Kiffin and his people have done at putting that staff together. So they've put the roster together. They've put the staff together. They've still got doubt. So if you're counting on that stuff, they'll still be doubted. No one's picking Ole Miss above Georgia. I don't think they will. I think folks will give Texas a long look over Ole Miss. You'll still have a lot of Alabama noise, even with Saban gone. So you've got all the pieces in place from a tangible perspective. From the intangible outside perspective, you'll still have that same doubt you've always had. They're in a position at Ole Miss where the sport has kind of come to them. We got coaches all over the country talking mainly off record about how they hate this, and that about college football this year. And Kiffin's been vocal about it as well. It's not like he's waving a pom-pom loving where things are at right now, but they're where they need to be. So whether they like it there or they've held their nose while doing it, they've leveraged their position within the confines of what college football currently is, and they've positioned themselves very well. Nick Saban's gone, and that was an albatross around their neck every year trying to beat Alabama. Mississippi State is in a state of flux right now with yet another new coaching staff. The schedule this year is, by SEC standards, about as manageable as it's going to get. And so what more could you ask for? This is not the time to prepare. This is not the time to kind of wink and nod and say, hey, not too long from now, not too far down the road, we'll have our shot. We got our shot for Ole Miss. We got our shot this year. Don't know how many of these you get either. So you got your shot this year. I would be foaming at the mouth if I were an Ole Miss fan. It's still April, May, June, July, August, an eternity. That's a third of a year, according to Stats and Info. It may be the longest summer in the history of Oxford, Mississippi. But don't worry, I have it on good authority. The fall will get here. And in recorded history, fall has never failed to follow summer. And it won't this year either. But man, what a time. What a time for Ole Miss fans. I'm not going to say if not now, when. I won't say that. But I will say this is the best shot that I've seen Ole Miss set to have in a long time.